Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and today we're going to do another video on Invisalign refinements. A lot of you get so confused at the refinement process. Just a friendly reminder, a long time ago we called them refinements. There was refinements if you finished all the trays and then you need to make a reboot. Then there was also mid-course correction, which was if you weren't done and you needed to make a change. Now things are called something different and you guys get super confused. I mean, we still call them refinements, but actually Invisalign has rebranded the process to additional aligners instead. So if you want to do a quote-unquote refinement or mid-course correction, you actually need to click the additional aligners tab, which is in your patient's portal top right. You'll see it. And then they're going to take you through a bunch of prompts. There's also another option called warranty fit. If the quote-unquote refinement or mid-course correction or additional aligners that you need to establish happens in the first 3 aligners, they call that warranty fit. You always have to submit a new impression or scan. I mean, there's a few one-offs. If the first one didn't even fit, you're still gonna have to submit it. Occasionally you can call and just have them trim something off, but for the most part, you're gonna have to do it. For warranty fit, they sometimes ask for the aligners back. So it's always better to be at least at aligner 4 than aligner 1, 2, 3. So I'm just letting you know because it can complicate the process. And you will need to say what aligner they are on. Now, between you and me, you can say whatever aligner you're on at all. So sometimes if I don't want the Invisalign people to get upset, but sometimes if I know it's not something we did wrong and I just don't want to go through the extra hassle, I'm going to say 4, even if it's 3. Does that make sense? Okay, anyways. So how can you make this additional aligner process more streamlined? They have certain defaults that it prompts to, and the problem is I don't agree with their defaults. So this is number 5. Number 5 is one of the ones I don't agree with, so I want to go over it. It defaults to make finishing improvements to tooth positions, AP relationship will be maintained. That means that if you're doing, now for me, I optimize all my refinements I optimize all my Clin Checks ideally from the beginning, talk to the patient about it, we agree on it, the patient signs off. So I'm not gonna make a change in my refinement. I'm gonna keep working towards the same plan, which I've already spent time doing and I've already spent time optimizing. So why would I wanna go through this whole process all over again when I've already done it? So I just wanna cut to the chase. Hey, I already did a good job. Just match it with this last plan with the new scan and just make it a little bit shorter. And so let's say this, for example, if my original plan was 60 aligners, patient made it halfway through, okay? If I didn't have any compliance issues with the patient, it was just one of those rando things where it went off track, then okay, I'm going to ask them to quote, you always want to mark this one, continue towards achieving the final tooth positions as in the last approved Clincheck treatment plan. Remember, this is not defaulted. You have to tick that. And that's the mistake most doctors make. Then they do all the work all over again. So mark that. But then you want to tell them in the comments section, a couple other things you want to do. You want to tell them, please work towards the last treatment plan. I like to clarify which the last treatment plan was. So if the last treatment plan was 5, I'm going to say, please work this plan towards treatment plan number 5, but with the updated scan, dated, blah, 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 blah. But please make it a little bit shorter. So I actually tell them exactly how many aligners I want it to be based on how compliant I know the patient is. Because if you don't do that, they're just going to shortchange you, and it's not going to be a predictable treatment plan. And I don't want it to be as long as the other one because we've already made a lot of progress, right? So you actually have to tell them how many aligners you want it to be. So in my mind, I do the math and I tell them. I know that sounds a little confusing, but remember, Invisalign's goal as a company is always going to be to save on overhead and to cut prices as much as possible. So they're going to try to do as little work as possible on your Clincheck to make it acceptable enough that you'll approve it so that they're not wasting money. That's just the way business works, right? But my goal is to try to get my patient a predictable treatment plan that will track, hopefully the first time, if not the second time. So I have to it's a balancing act, right? You got to kind of guide them. They're not going to give you a longer plan unless you ask for it. If you ask for it, they'll give it to you. So always mark this if you've spent the time optimizing it. Now, if you haven't optimized your plan, then you're going to have to, do the plan this time. The reason why I never do this, because this basically says, let's say your patient has an overjet, or let's say your patient has negative overjet. They're just basically not going to change the bite. All they're going to do is straight finishing. I give you a few aligners to fine tune the front teeth, basically, if you mark this. That's not what I do. That's not the dentistry I do. So I do this. So anyways, I just wanted to show you how that works. Other things you may or may not want to consider, and we've gone over this. I have a ton of videos on refinements. So if you want to watch them all, you can go to your YouTube channel, put in your YouTube channel, Straightsmile Solutions at the top. That'll take you to my YouTube channel. You can go down on the homepage and look at the playlist. I have one on Invisalign. I have over 250 videos just on Invisalign, and there's a ton of stuff on refinement. So just watch all those videos. But other things to think about, do you want to take attachments on or off? Well, to me, it really depends on if the plan initially was optimized. Did the patient break any attachments? If the plan was optimized, the patient did break attachments, and it's all in all going well, we just had a tiny little hiccup, then I'm just going to leave the attachments on unless they're somehow worn down. And I'm going to mark that button as I submit it. Now it makes it seem like they don't want you to do that. I think it's more work for them. But I always tell them if needed, they can add additional attachments. And I always say if extrusions are needed, please add additional attachments. So I add that. In addition, if there are small open contacts that aren't flagged or picked up by the scan, I make sure to put in the comment section where those open contacts are. And sometimes I'll ask for virtual IPR. So I'm going to ask them to do 0.1 millimeters of IPR in between the following contacts. That's where my open contacts are, but I'm not actually going to do the IPR. So that way they're just tightening it up a little bit. So that's another little hack that's helpful. All right, hopefully this was helpful. If you ever need help with an Invisalign case, you want to optimize Clinchecks, learn how to do it, give us a holler, straightsmilesolutions.com. Thank you.